The second one is the city of Seattle. Same situation, a growth of 400,000 people and their water use has gone down. Now, I think Administrator Johnson mentioned Seattle. He mentioned SPU, Seattle Public Utilities, and their work that they've been doing. Clearly, this chart, in my view, shows that it does work. All of these work, but we need to keep on the forefront of identifying new products and new approaches and getting those out there into the world of the built environment. And Seattle is just another good example. Los Angeles is a good example, but there are dozens of other cities and other water agencies with similar scenarios. You don't always hear about them and you don't always see this kind of information, but I can guarantee you that between Bill and myself, we're going to assemble a few more locations that will show you how aggressive programs work if the situation becomes serious enough, which today it seems to be. So with that, I thank you. This is the full paper on the 6 sins of greenwashing that he was talking about, Tom was talking about. If you want this, give me your card and I'll email it to you. It will soon be posted on the Alliance for Water Efficiency website on our green building page. But it's a really fascinating examination of some of the things that are going on out there as in the green area. So I encourage you to read it. It's a short read, but it's very interesting.
John, when you were talking about gray water, maybe I missed it, but did you explain why you think there are behavioral modifications necessary for gray water? Because intuitively, it doesn't seem like there would be any. Once the gray water system is installed in the house, the consumer carries on as always.
Well, maintenance is the big one.
Oh, it's the maintenance of the system.
Yeah,
okay.
Because any of these sophisticated systems, I'm sure some of the experts out here will tell you, need to be maintained. One of the things I go through in my green plumbers workshop is myths and so forth. And one of the myths is that, oh, this product is maintenance free. And I don't know how many products that have water flowing through them are maintenance free, but I know of none. So that's a big issue.
John, could you comment on the drain line carry issue for some of the low flow toilets?
No.
Any other questions?
Yeah, any other questions? Well, you know.
You knew you were going to get that.
I knew that. You warned me, but I didn't know you were going to be this way about it. Actually, you know, this question comes up every time. I've done about 15 workshops with the plumbers, and it comes up every time. Because if you cannot talk about water efficient products and reducing flows through the products and into the drain line without that red flag going up. So it's obvious that people are thinking about it, concerned about it. A couple of things. Number one, the standards committee, the ASME standards committees chaired by Mr. Dave Viola are looking at drain line as one of the key items that can affect future thresholds of plumbing fixtures in terms of new national standards. I would welcome input from people in this room who are not yet participating to begin to participate. This is important. There's a lot of work going on in people's laboratories and so forth. On the second point, however, we have yet to see empirical evidence independently developed that shows so far that there are issues in drain lines in buildings or in, and I thought you were going to ask about sewer lines too, so I'll just cover that for you. That there are issues out there in the sewers, although Jeff brought up in his talk that in Australia, I think they're beginning to see some of that. On the other hand, it's very interesting to note that it's the sanitation districts, that is the folks that operate the sewers and the wastewater treatment plants that are funding many of the water efficiency programs. So I put 2 and 2 together, and I guess I think, well, why are they funding these programs if they believe or know that they're going to be harming themselves in terms of reduced flow and clogged sewer lines and higher solids ratios in their treatment plants. And so far, we've not seen anything. So if you have some evidence, reported evidence that indicates the problems are beginning, we'd love to see it. I think others in this room would love to see it too, because it has to be addressed. I think not so much in residential, in terms of drain lines now, but in terms of non-residential, where you have extraordinarily long drain lines. I was called by the state of California a couple weeks ago by their Department of Transportation. The Department of Transportation is under the order of the governor, just like the other departments, to go green. So they're going to retrofit all of their rest stops. Well, the rest stops have drain lines that are sometimes 500 feet long and at a 1% slope. I'm thinking, why don't you just leave well enough alone? Well, we can't. The governor said we got to go green, so we're going to do this and this. I said, well, you better be aware that you are potentially, thank you, Bill.
Was that subtle enough for him?
that you may be creating an issue that will come to roost later on. So there are people working on this. Be delighted to hear from you formally in terms of some of the work that the Standards Committee is involved in and their members.
I haven't heard anybody address the issue of low-flow accessories in the system with use in a septic tank and system, and how you think that's going to affect the septic tank. Personally, I think it's going to extend the life, which is another positive aspect to low-flow appliances that we haven't addressed at all. So perhaps you have some thoughts.
Well, being on a septic system myself in my home, everything I got is very low flow. And my system, I think, was about to fail and probably is failing, but I'm keeping it going by reducing the deliveries to that system. But that's just me, so that's just anecdotal. I can't speak for overall the industry and what might be happening. I would hope that there are people involved in these types of systems and engaged with the people doing the work to define what the future flow rates ought to be.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, John and Bill.